stuff, and like I'll be overseeing and kind of doing some more like big picture, just like text me the demo. Like that's what she did yesterday. And then I just like listened to it. I'm like, voice memo back. Great. And then got the stems, but the changes and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a 5-person team now, which is kind of weird, which is kind of cool. I mean, really cool. But we don't always need Savannah. Sometimes it's just the 4, just 4 to 3 of us. But we have all 5 on deck when we need them. So everybody's got a job to do.
Yeah, love it. Well, I'm almost ready to move on to the sauce segment. But before we do that, I want to ask you about that drum monkey video that you did, which was awesome.
I'm glad it hasn't gotten copyright stricken.
Why do you think it would get copyright stricken?
They have a history of doing that to criticism videos.
YouTube.
No, Unison does that. Unison has a pattern of doing that to YouTube videos.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That are just critical of their products. And
who is this company?
I don't know the answer to that, so I can't say. All I can say is I'm not a fan.
Yeah, fair enough. That video was really cool, and people should go check it out.
Thank you. Yeah,
and
I mean, I could say a lot more critical things of like most YouTube creators and their shady affiliate work. But that might be another video, and I can make a lot of enemies in one shot.
Yeah, I mean, what you played in the video, I was like, this is not nearly as good as even Logic's stock drums, and you know what I mean. It's just like what is this? Yeah. But also, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your Instagram videos where you kind of like do like a micro deconstruction of a song. What gave you that idea? Like, I love them. They're so uniquely you, and they're so like informative.
Well, those are cut downs. I mean, I don't know if you've seen enough of my YouTube content, but those are small bits of my YouTube content. And
oh, wow. Okay, so I think I have a much more deep diving to do. I did not do enough research.
It's okay. I forgive you. I put out a lot of content. And so that stuff is all edited and put out by somebody else. Like I am there. I've said all the things. And then somebody else edits it together. And then I write the copy, and they get all the titling together and get it out, get it scheduled. So that's all for my YouTube video. So I figured out, and getting back to formats that worked for me, like I think the difficulty too is moving back to content. Like people are gonna listen to, I think they'll hear what I did, and they're gonna go try to do the exact same thing, and find that it didn't work because we're all, working to attract and become authorities in specifically different things. So y'all can do it. I don't really care. Like if you go for it, I still think it's going to work. If it does, then great, get your bag. But yeah, I feel like I found that doing song analysis videos, it's not reactions, like not cheap, like just doing that for 7 minutes and then recapping it, like doing in-depth technical, critical, active listening analysis of songs was a great format that worked on YouTube for some. I mean, some of they flop, but who cares? And I could cut like 15 TikToks per 25-minute YouTube video. Because all it is I listen, then I make comments on things that are there and dissect them. So when I have an idea, so when I start talking about the whisper tracks and Build a Bitch, Savannah can go in and cut that out. And then when I'm done talking about it, she cuts it at the end. She does the reframing, adds some captions and stuff like that. Boom, TikTok content. So it's great. Like with each YouTube video, it's like a YouTube video and 7 to 16 pieces of short form content all in one, and keeps my my stuff consistent as like a baseline content output, and then building from there.
Yeah. The content game is it's such a grind. I feel like you seem to have something down pat, which is great. And it sounds like you have
it's been I had to do it for years to figure out what worked, and then had to work to. I've had like 3 different people making them. That's also a whole other ball game, like leading, delegating processes, just teaching creative things that aren't necessarily so cut and dry. Like it's rough, man, but it's good. It's good. At the same time, I'm still very glad that it's now at this point, because I can't make tracks if I'm only making TikTok content. Yeah. So I have to continue to,
there's a balance
to shuffle things away in that sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you have enough work that you're able to kind of delegate some of that stuff. And I'm sure delegating is hard, but it's a blessing, probably. Amazing. Well, John, this has been super fun. Let's move on to the Sauce segment and have a listen to what we've been talking about musically. So, John, you sent me a track for the Sauce segment called Phone a Friend by Leah Farrington, Bryce Ansell, and yourself, John McLucas. So we'll have a listen to that for about 90 seconds and talk about a little bit what went into it. Sound cool?
Sounds great. That's all good. We got it on loop.
Yeah. Do it like I'm Justin, yeah, cause I can make your body rock. Lick it off the top, dripping sugar, baby, bottle pop. Nintendo Switch and I'ma do it if you say so. Fucking up the Uber on the way home. The double shooter, shoving face at every angle. Laying down the cushion when I kiss her on the table. She wanna taste it, I know you will turn her. Feeling hot, bring 'em in, phone a friend. Hey, till we meet you on the way. Living off liquor and lace. Take it in like oxygen. Breathing in, bring 'em in. Phone a friend. 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 Call me when you miss me, and I know you miss me all the time. Got you at your maximum, then push it into overdrive. Making bad decisions cause you love the way you feel inside. Vodka tripping, texture man, he's fiending for a fix of mine. Oh, breaking the rules when it comes to our loving. Oh, put it on me with the push of a button. Oh, keeping my line and my body stay buzzing. Don't want tonight to end, maybe we should phone a friend. Hey, till we meet you on the way. Living off liquor and lace. Take it in like oxygen, breathing in, bring 'em in, phone a friend.
Yeah, John, sounds awesome. I love the low end, like the bass and the 808s, and just the drums in general sound awesome, and the vocals, super cool vocal effects as well.
Thank you. That was and also like the first verse too is very screw around with formantiness. Then the second one is very harmony based, so like they're very flavored very differently than the other.
Totally. So tell me a little bit about that track. How was it made? What was involved in it?
The reason we made the song, actually, we came together as part of a course with Pro Mix Academy, which is not out yet. And I kind of decided to turn it into a big giveaway as well. So they wanted to create a course where somebody made like a modern pop track, something it's super in the box, very like just kind of quote like cutting edge modern sound, and it seemed like a great fit. So I needed artists, while I was in the chair doing that. I can't seem to quite do it all at once, not at least intriguing enough. And I turned it into a giveaway. So I made a contest on TikTok, and I flew out. One was local, an artist who won, and then one artist I flew in from Chicago to do it. So we went into a studio for 3 days and filmed the whole thing, making it from the ground up, and just no preconceived ideas. I just started flipping up sounds and took it from there. Like what we talked, literally what we were talking about that I don't do much of anymore, was because you can't really make a great course just only watching this dude sitting on his laptop in the corner of a room for 37 hours. But yeah, we wanted to see like how a pop song comes together organically, and just everything from the ground up, and all the vocal editing, all the mixing, all the comping. It's just every moment of the song from beginning to end. So that was kind of the thing that brought it together, and it just turned out hot. Not gonna lie, it turned out real hot. So
amazing.
That was that, and it was really exciting for us because it was something so new, and it was a great experience for them. And I know Bryce coming out from Chicago, it was great for him. Never been to California, and we got to make something really really special. And it's his first release coming out, or is out now.
Wow.
And then also they'll be part of the course too. So that was it. And
nice. So I guess people can even get deeper on this song if they feel like checking out the course and seeing like literally
watch it go from like, all right guys, so how you feeling? Like, let's do this. You give them each a hug, and then we start trying to see where things take it, and that's where it starts. It's just, I think it starts with us hugging or something. It's the moment that I kind of get serious about it.
So is there anything in the drums or in particular that you kind of did that maybe would be interesting for the listeners, like maybe even on a technical level, like how is it programmed and mixed?
Ooh,
we got to get a little nerdy.
I know.
At some point,
you know what's so funny? I'm like the least nerdy nerd, which is funny. Like hearing the track, and then like, I'm not that technical. I think I take it for granted, but I think the most interesting thing, actually, I'm going to say it about the bass because it has to do with the drums. And the way that the kick and the bass work, it's like one of those where the kick doesn't stand on its own. It's only because the bass is so much. But what was really interesting was the resonances.
There's that meme, right? There's that meme. Like that little person behind the bicycle person. Yeah, exactly.
And it was really fun because I had to figure out some like volume and EQ automation depending on what note or what octave the 808 was playing in to make sure it played with the kick perfectly. So that took some time because I was like, man, I just couldn't get it always to gel right, and there's one of those things where you're like shaping it and then it's one way or the other. And then we're trying all the automated solutions. I'm like, oh, fuck it. So just had to draw it in, make sure I liked it, and then paste it around to the moments and where to go up the octave. And it I think we pulled down some sub and brought out some stuff here and then would snap back for the other notes. And it kind of sucked. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but now it feels really smooth and you'll never know. The good producer shop.
Listen,
never know.
You never know. Sometimes you just got to get deep in the automation. I was mixing a track that just yesterday that, like the overheads didn't sound really good, but they sounded really good on the toms when the guy was doing tom fills. I was like, okay, I guess I'm just like automating all the tom fills on the overheads, in the drums. And then I found out, then I had a really crazy revelation that this has never happened to me, that the overheads are just completely out of phase. Usually it's like the snare and the bottom snare or like whatever. It's like, oh no, the overheads are out of phase with the rest of the track. And then everything kind of came together. I was like, oh, that's what the fuck was going on.
Wow.
Because then I started like raising the overheads.
Oh, and you're like, it sounds
And
weird.
then all of a sudden things started dipping out. And then I was like, oh shit. But then I flipped the phase and then everything sounded awesome. So
hell yeah.
Remember to flip your phase, boys and girls. Yeah. That's a total side tangent. And
no, it's cool. No, I like hearing about that stuff too.
Yeah. Real world experiences, You just got to put in the reps.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, John, this has been super, super fun. I'll ask you a couple questions that I ask most people on the show that are not as much music related, but more just kind of, you and your journey. I guess that's been most of this podcast anyways, but so we all have days where we're totally pumped to get in the studio and work, and we're days where we're maybe a little bit more burnt out. Do you have any routines or anything you do to kind of get yourself in that zone where you're ready to do the work and do the emotional labor that it takes to be a music producer?
I've been working on it and it's taking a lot of self-restraint, but even though I use my phone in the morning, not checking social media platforms, which is like against the dopamine desire, the variable rate response that they program into us wanting by grabbing our phones. But that also goes into like all notifications off, of course. Like I don't get no notifications, no red dots, on the app. Oh, that's my cat. His like head's rubbing up against the laptop. He's licking himself. He's doing some grooming. But yeah, all notifications off, all red badges off, and just developing the self-discipline to not do that. And then I'm also doing 75 hard, which has been absurdly difficult. I've had to do 2 workouts a day, drink a gallon of water, no cheat meals, no dessert, no alcohol, and I read 10 pages of a book a day. And it's definitely been good as far as developing better discipline.
Wow.
So I'd recommend that if you struggle with discipline, would be to do it and kick my ass.
I definitely don't have time to do that much working out. Like I would love to in an ideal world, but there's literally no way I could work out twice a day.
Well, that's the challenge, right? I used to work 12-hour days, but it's like then it forced me to get like a lot more efficient with my time and like focus and create it. I know I'm also not going to speak to the fact that I don't have children. So I have a very different experience.
No, totally.
I personally felt the same thing in relation to my current life. So, but it was a great challenge, and like it showed me, or I just was forced to have less time to work. And funny enough, I started producing faster. It was like, wow, Parkinson's law, really
totally
kicked into shape. So it was a great thing for me too, to like realize a lot of those habits too. But yeah, I think that'd be it. Notifications, 275 hard if you're crazy and want to push your mind in an intense way.
Yeah. Love it. I feel like there is a minimum amount of time that you do need to like still have Parkinson's law work. Like you need to have some time. Like when I'm locked down and like no daycare and stuff, like it doesn't matter how little time I have. Maybe I'll get it done, but it's going to be stressful AF and it's not going to come. It's not going to turn out really. But there is a limit. But totally. Limiting your time can totally work. And this question is a question I ask on every single episode of the podcast. So if you've heard any episodes, you've probably heard this question. Just looking back on your journey, if you could talk to your earlier self and say like, hey, John, maybe don't do that. You'll get to where you want to go faster. Or no, John, this is the thing. Keep at it. This is